You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Y&R fans, I've got your full roster of weekly spoilers from Monday, October 7th, all the way through Friday, October 11th. We are going to have Chance grilling Sharon. He is in this Heather investigation, and it sounds like Sharon might be in some trouble. Plus, Sally still wants Adam. We're going to dive into all of that. It's Belinda from Soap Dirt, and let's kick it off with what's coming on Monday, October 7th, which is season 52, episode 3. Kyle is all up in Audra's face. He is gloating about the fact that Victor fired her, but she says it's not over. She is so mad because she's the one who got Glissade into Victor's hands. And Kyle says, don't worry about it. You'll weasel into something else. They are bickering. She says she will not let Kyle take this from her, but he promises that he already did. And then Claire runs into Kyle at Crimson Lights, and he is looking so happy. And he tells her that Audra's fired and how great it was. And Claire is wondering if he's being underhanded, but he swears Audra would have done the same thing to him, which I do agree. He and Claire head over to the jazz lounge to celebrate, but when he keeps on about defeating Audra proves to everybody what he can do, she wants to know if this is about his personal past with Audra, and he's like, we weren't ever in a relationship, tells her she doesn't need to be jealous. It doesn't sound like she is. She just doesn't like that he is celebrating another human being's downfall and wonders if this is, a little red flag about him. And yeah, I think it is. Sally runs into a very upset Audra. They talk about Kyle. She says that he got her fired. And Sally, of course, feels very bad. Audra wants to fight back, but Victor is the money man behind Glissade, and he is too powerful to defeat. So Audra wants to change the topic to talk about Sally and Adam. And Audra suggests some ways that she can bond with Adam again so that he will forget his feelings for Chelsea. Audra wants to take back Glissade and thinks Sally should take back Adam if that's what she wants. At the house, Faith sends a text to her mom, but she's not answering. And Sharon is all alone. Cameron is not in her ear advising her, but she has figured out how to fix this mess so she doesn't go to prison. So she texts from Heather's phone to Daniel and says that she found this phone and wants to return it. Lucy thinks because the text came in, that means her mom's alive, but he reminds her, no, I saw her body. She's dead. So they go leave to meet the person to get this phone. And then after they go, Sharon uses Heather's keys to let herself into the apartment. She hides Heather's phone, Heather's keys, and the bloody rags in that same cabinet in the living room that she had gotten into before. And then Sharon runs back home and makes excuses for Faith, saying she just needed some time to think, and promises she turned a corner, doesn't like her kids grilling her about where she at all the time. And Faith mentions reaching out to Lucy about what's happened to her mom, but Sharon says, give it some time. After Faith takes off, Cameron shows up to talk to her and tells her what a smart move it was. And now she just needs to call in a tip to the cops so that Daniel will be arrested and Sharon will have accomplished all her goals. Summer talks to Nick and Phyllis and tells them Heather's cause of death was blunt force trauma. They start discussing foul play. Nick doesn't want to speculate. He just wants to be supportive. Phyllis wants to start planning a memorial, but Nick says, don't do that. Talk to your son before you start all this. And they discuss Chance being back at the GCPD and how confident they are he'll figure it out. And Daniel and Lucy run into Chance at the GCAC and kind of fill him in on the text from this person, but then the person didn't show up. And Daniel tells him that Heather's phone was locked with a password, so he doesn't really understand how somebody even got in it to send the message. Phyllis and Summer show up and Daniel says there might be a lead in the case. Tuesday, October 8th is season 52, episode 4. And Nick is caught up between an angry Phyllis and a defensive Sharon. There is a photo of them glaring at each other. I can't show you for copyright reasons, but it's a promo for the week. And I do wonder if Phyllis is going to decide that it had to be Sharon that did this because nobody else had a grudge against Heather or Daniel or Lucy. Victor gets into some mischief. He decides he's going to cause trouble for the Abbotts. And if you remember, Kyle said once he fired Audra, he would hand over the formula for that new moisturizer that he stole from his mother's laptop, which, by the way, that's illegal. That's industrial espionage stuff because I'm sure there's a patent on it. It's intellectual property. Kyle may end up in deep doo-doo over this. Meanwhile, Chance warns Daniel. There's a photo of them, again, I can't show you, at the apartment, sitting down talking at the table. So I do wonder at what point that Daniel is going to be in trouble for Sharon calling in that tip. On Wednesday, October 9th, season 52, episode 5, Chance really starts digging into Heather's murder, and Nick is giving Sharon some mixed signals. There's a photo of them on her couch looking very close, but I don't believe any photos of anything I see with Sharon now. After the whole photo of them kissing turned out to be a fantasy sequence, you just can't trust what they're showing us. And Cole and Victoria have a talk about their future. Thursday, October 10th is episode 6 of the current season. And Nikki is part of a negotiation and she does really well. She gets the upper hand. Meanwhile, Victor rides to Abby's rescue. This sounds like maybe something with her wedding planning. I showed you guys in the last videos some behind the scenes footage that looks like it is from Abby's wedding, which I'm expecting to show up in November sweeps. And Chance interrogates Sharon about Heather. This is important because in the promo, there is a scene where Chance is telling Daniel that Heather's cell phone tracking led him to someone he needs to talk to. So I wonder if he has figured out Sharon is the one who's had that phone in her hands. And of course, this is complicated because Chance used to date Sharon and he thinks she's a very nice woman, which she is. She's just gone off the deep end and, gotten all murdery. Friday, October 11th is going to end the week on season 52, episode 7. Jack talks to Claire and he's offering her a little history lesson and some context. And I'm wondering if she's going to express her concern about Kyle being so ruthless. And I'm very curious what history he is going to tell her about just, Kyle growing up mostly without his mom, or about the Newman versus Abbott feud. I mean, that would be my guess because she may be a pawn in it and Kyle already is. Nate is home with surprising news. Sounds like he went out of town. Remember, he got that text from Amy Lewis, that character from the late 80s who is returning. The woman who dated his dad, and it's such an old storyline. I'm very interested to see how they're going to make it relevant for now. And Victor informs Lily that the rules are changing. And then there's another scene, I don't know the date it's happening, with Diane ranting at Jack about him still thinking she's the same old manipulative person she always was. And by the way, on October 1st, we had Brittany Sarpy back on the Y&R set taping episodes as Dr. Elena Dawson.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.